Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Trailblazers and Trailblazerettes, gather around and prepare yourselves, for tonight we journey once more into the Design Gazette, the show where we get to explore the most techy, the most gamey, and of course, the most silvery aspects of your favorite characters' designs. Tonight on the show we have Silver Wolf, or more accurately, a re-release of the original Silver Wolf video that had to be removed due to copyright issues. RIP my JoJo intro. But it is important to me that I preserve the Design Gazette as best I can, so that others can enjoy the series in the future. Silver Wolf was actually the first Design Gazette episode ever made, and was actually just meant to be a YouTube short. But the more I dug, the more I found, and eventually realized Honkai Star Rail has a crazy amount of detail in it. So if I do sound a bit different, just know, this is an older video and a younger Crusader. A Crusader who has yet to crusade harder. So in order that I crusade even further, hit that like and sub. And with that, take it away, younger me. Now, right off the bat, when looking at her design, the word that comes to mind is punk. Everything from her demeanor to her silhouette to her palette, punk is front and center. Which makes sense, because Silver Wolf herself as a character is what many people would describe as a punk. But, back up for a second. What exactly is punk, I hear you say? Well, the traditional definition of a punk is a young person who behaves in a rude, aggressive, or otherwise rebellious way. And the term really took off in the 70s and 80s after teens and young adults started rebelling against the political and social norms established by those previous, more stiff generations. Punks started questioning their place as individuals and their freedoms in society, making freedom of expression and thinking for oneself the center of punk philosophy. To put it simply, the punk movement aims to create a society where human beings are as free as possible from all opposing forms of authority. And Silver Wolf is a punk through and through, with the biggest tells of punks beginning with the smallest details. In this case, bubblegum. An otherwise small and cute candy, it's also something many sassy teenagers famously chew whenever they feel like a bad. And we all know the baddest of the lot rock those fishnets and the studded fingerless gloves. This unconventional attitude all originate from punk fashion, as the whole style of punk revolves around the rejection of androgynous fashion and using unique pieces of clothing and memorabilia to assert one's own freedom and personal expression. The biggest form of self-expression here being the moniker of Silver Wolf. She very much loves her own personal branding. You can find Silver Wolf insignias on the back of her jacket, her weapon, her phone, and whenever she hacks something. It's also no coincidence that the fur that lines her jacket's collar is silver, hopefully not from a wolf. Even the aforementioned metal studs on her gloves are shaped like wolves. So yes, Silver Wolf does in fact like silver wolves. It's also pretty neat as iconography, as wolves can represent wildness and freedom, tying back to the theme of punk. Something else that is very in line with punk fashion is the tendency to stick random everyday objects and memorabilia as accessories to break monotony and otherwise get away from the more simple, straight, and civilized clothing. Arguably, this is something Hoyoverse does in all of their designs, but in Silver Wolf's case, it works particularly well in defining her character. Things like the pins on the jacket, the battery patch, the calf knife, and the game console on her hip can be seen as random items in any other context, but do well in defining her as a cybercriminal super genius gamer hacker girl. Bandages also break up the monotony of her design and were pretty popular among punks who got into a lot of fights. But seeing where they are on her body, it's safer to conclude that she might be a bit of a klutz. At the very least, that reason might explain why she prefers to wear comfortable sportswear as the base for her outfit. This style of activewear can also be traced back to the 80s, where a big fitness craze took place, mostly because of the Olympics and countless aerobic DVDs. It was a thing. Point is, Silver Wolf's sportswear fashion such as her short shorts, crop tops, leg warmers, and high-top sneakers were all popular thanks to the comfort they provided when working out. Related to this, most women started adopting the ponytail look in the 80s in both formal and informal settings thanks to the fitness trend. Except they would usually go for scrunchies instead of the bunny ribbon tie that Silver Wolf uses. This decision was purposely made in order to reference her alternate version from Honkai Impact III called Hacksaw Bunny, who also had a very gamer-centric style. Regardless, sportswear is a style of fashion that is very comfortable, very efficient, and perfect for someone who sits around and plays video games all day. And in true punk fashion, even at her most comfortable, there is still a bit of rebellion running through her style, at least in terms of challenging Hoyoverse's usual design tendencies. Because she is the only character in Honkai Star Rail that does not have some form of heel shoes. Clara not counting. The high top flats paired with leg warmers give her a very unique silhouette that makes her stand out from the rest of the game's female cast. Finally, for the last piece of her fashion puzzle, we reach her glasses and jacket, and to absolutely no one's surprise, This also dates back to the 80s. However, this particular Vogue is not part of punk culture. Rather, she flaunts a bomber jacket, and her VR-style glasses are fashioned after aviators, both of which were more popular with men and the military style of clothing back in the day. This suggests a more tomboyish nature and also maybe a love for 80s cinema. Because no one rocked this iconic military look more than Top Gun's leading man, Tom Cruise. And here's the kicker. The main character in Top Gun is called Maverick, and a maverick means an unorthodox or independent-minded person. The very type of person that would join a punk movement. So yes, Silverwolf is a Top Gun fan, confirmed. Now again, punk was a huge movement, and it wasn't just limited to fashion or music, but also art, literature, and fiction. And the biggest fiction to emerge out of the punk movement was cyberpunk. Is a subgenre of science fiction dealing with the integration of society and technology in an urban and very dystopian setting. Often referred to as high-tech, low-life, cyberpunk stories usually tell the tales of troublemakers or punks who use cyber technology to fight against mega-corporations that usually control everything. Works in the genre can range from the richly neon-colored Night City to the rough and tough urban jungles of Akira. In fact, there is a neat little reference to Ghost in the Shell in Silverwolf's trailer, referencing the original movie's release date as her high score. A big theme of cyberpunk is cybersecurity. Megacorporations spend fortunes on employing high-tech security measures in order to protect their systems and sensitive data from cyber criminals and hackers. Cyberpunks are usually said hackers, and often belong to a culture and ethos of hackers that assert all information should be accessible and use programming and computer systems as a medium of freedom and creativity. Hackers often enjoy the challenge of creatively overcoming the limitations of foreign software and systems. Sounds like someone we know, doesn't it? Silverwolf very much engenders the attitude and core philosophies of hacker culture, yet she's not exactly aesthetically chromed up by cyberware and body modification, so we can't exactly call her a true cyberpunk. Except there are actually a lot of derivatives of this genre. Many of these derivatives maintain the theme of high-tech, low-life, and though the low-life aspect has remained constant, the idea of high-tech has become very diversified. Is your idea of high-tech spacesuits and satellites? Is your idea of high-tech brass gears and steam-powered machines? Or is your idea of high-tech neon retro 80s cranked up to 11? Synthwave as an aesthetic takes iconic 80s imagery and flavors them with futuristic themes through techno-fluorescent colors like blues and purples, which are often associated with space, or in this case, cyberspace. The range of 80s iconography includes sunset graphics, neon grids, wireframe vectors, video cartridges, and pixel art that is designed to look like those old-school 8-bit video games that you would find in the arcades. And Silverwolf is an arcade kid through and through. All of her battle effects have pixels flying off left, right, and center, accompanied by the electronic beeps and bops you'd hear whenever you visited an arcade in the golden age of the 80s. In fact, this theme of old-school gaming really brings a lot of her design online. And if I had to explain each and every one of them, I'd be here all day long. So here's a quick rundown of all the gaming references I could find in Silverwolf's design. Number 1, the console brand she uses has X and O buttons alongside with blue highlights, a homage to PlayStation. These XO symbols, the D-pad and the blue power buttons, can be found on her jacket, zip, gloves, waist, pants, side sash, hanging belt, garter, knife strap, shoe tops, soles, and her weapon. She's a pony. She also has a 4-button Famicom controller on her right sleeve. Her phone cover is the Game Boy, and the console on her hip closely resembles the Nintendo DS. She has a pouch for arcade coins. Her button looks like Pac-Man. In her trailer, she's playing Honkai Impact III as Hacksaw Bunny, her alternate self. The heads-up display in her trailer looks like Metroid Prime, but the reticle targeting is very Robocop. Her ult is of course a rhythm game. Rock Band, anyone? The icon for her basic attack looks like the Master Sword, but the weapon itself is close to Halo Energy Swords. And finally, her technique straight up turns her into Mega Man. Neat. Taking a step back, we can see that Silverwolf has a lot of love and attention to detail poured into her design. I mean, this is Hoyoverse's favorite character. However, there are a few things I don't quite understand about the design. For one, what is the thing on her neck? Is it a neck fan? Is it a console for her VR goggles? Is it cyberware? I really can't say anything about it except that it was clearly placed there to compartmentalize her design. In which case, I think a pair of headphones or Walkmans would have done a better job. The white belt hanging off her waist is very unnecessary as it throws off the balance of her design. We already had a strong silhouette going with the gamer towel, and the belt just throws off that asymmetry, feeling completely unnecessary. And finally, why doesn't she have light up shoes? Come on Hoyoverse, get with the times. So, in conclusion, Silverwolf's design is a love letter to the 80s and the idea of a punk. She is a cyberpunk through and through that loves her freedom, is self-expressive in her identity and style, and enjoys challenging new levels, be it cybersecurity or video games. I hope you found the video fun to watch. If you did, consider dropping a like and subbing the channel for more of these types of design breakdowns and fashion critiques. And if you spotted something I missed, be sure to yell at me down in the comments below. Until next time, Trailblazers, and may your journey lead you ever starward.
So what do you want?